Welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. In our last episode, we done some research in the area of jet engines. And today, we are continuing our endeavors. I've done some research on the subject and constructed two planes which might fly and might even achieve space. Our first model was never tested before. It consists, as you can see, of two jet engines and some air intakes. I've also created 3 action groups specifically for this plane. One of them will close the radial intakes, the second one will turn off the jet engines and turn off the ram intakes, and the third will turn on our liquid rocket engine. So hopefully we'll be able to achieve some good altitude, approximately 20 kilometers, there switch to the liquid rocket and maybe go into space. This plane is similar to the one we used in the previous episode, but with tiny differences. The main difference, of course, being the liquid rocket engine, and it looks like it's flying fairly okay. I'm not sure we will have enough fuel to achieve some kind of orbit, but we'll probably get into space. And at around 16 kilometers we more or less level our flight so that we are not gaining altitude too fast, and we're starting to gain our horizontal velocity after, of course, closing our radial intakes, because otherwise they will run out of air and only create drag. And here we are at 22 kilometers and we close our jet engines and turn to the liquid rocket. And we are out of fuel. But we are actually very close to the space. Bob will even have a couple of seconds of real space time. Or no, he won't. Nope. And now we are going down. Unfortunately, this is going to be a splashdown rather than landing. What can we do about it so that Bob survives and everything is fine? So what we can do is we can try to flare up our nose to make sure that our trajectory is more flat and that we're not losing altitude at such big rate. And it looks like it's going to happen. We are indeed losing altitude, but much slower than before. And yeah, sounds good. We're also losing our horizontal speed by doing this flare-up maneuver, because our drag is increasing and we're encountering higher air resistance. Here also opens the air intakes for our engines. Basically, when air intakes are open but are not doing anything, as in feeding engines, they are creating drag. And drag is something we actively need right now. So trying to flare up our nose more to make sure that we are losing our altitude as slow as possible. And we are at 300 meters, 200, 100, and EVA, splashdown, and he survives. And not only he survives, the cockpit also survives. That is a good achievement for now. And here is our second plane for today. This one is much smaller, and I tried flying it before, and I can say it requires some gentle care. You'll see later on why. So, without further ado, let's launch it. First thing you'll notice that we are not going at full throttle, but only at 1/3 on the runway, because if we go at 100% throttle, it will gain speed very fast, and then it will just want to flip around and fall down on itself. So, we had a good takeoff, and now we are going to slowly, not so slowly, climb up to our coasting velocities and coasting altitudes. Somewhere around 15 kilometers we are going to level out our flight, and we are going to slowly gain altitude and continue gaining speed. As you can see, this one is flying a little bit faster because it has less weight, obviously, and we're already at 1400 meters per second when we have to switch to our liquid rocket and start gaining altitude. Unfortunately, there will be not enough fuel for the orbit, but this one is actually reaching into the space. We reached 260 kilometers, which is way into space, and Bob can say that he was the first Kerbal to fly the plane into outer space. And this part is where problems begin. First of all, we are landing on the dark side of the Kerbal. Or in other words, I can't see anything, even if we are over land, over water, or where is anything. And then this happened. Our plane lost any resemblance of control. As much as I tried to level it out, it just doesn't want to comply. And in a couple of seconds, we will know that we were actually over land, or even over mountains. Rest in peace, Bob. The Kerbal kind will never forget you. Unfortunately, it's the time when we have to end the episode. I know that it's a little bit smaller than usual, but hopefully it was entertaining enough. I will continue my research into the space planes, and hopefully I'll create something which will be able not only to achieve orbit, but also land safely and maybe rendezvous with something in the orbit so we can refuel it and maybe even use it as interplanetary craft. Who knows? But until then, my name is Darlak. Remember to like, dislike, and comment the video in the section below. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye!